Hello, 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 and welcome to the Expansive this week. And every time I introduce the Expansive, I forget. And Erik, please remind me and remind the listeners that we're a two-time award-winning. I mean, what did we forget that we won Podcast of the Year earlier this year? I mean, how did we forget that? That is just like ridiculous that we've forgotten that. Plus, we're a best-selling book. I mean, what happened? It's just like all of a sudden, like we are expensive. We help you be more expensive. We forgot about, how much effort that flippin' book took, and then
Jeez.
how much effort it was to get 600. I mean, not six. Sorry, I'm exaggerating. 200 episodes in and 6 years of work to win Podcast of the Year, and we keep forgetting to, I don't know, announce it. So yeah, so welcome to the
There you
Expansive.
go.
Always awesome to have you here. If you don't blow your own trumpet, nobody does. So here we are blowing boop, boop. So great to have you with us. And we've got an exciting show for you. And it's always a pleasure speaking to one of my very dear friends, Erik. And good to see you. You got a new haircut. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
What's happening, brother? How are you?
Yeah, good, man. It's been a busy week. I'm doing, like my coaching practice has just kind of exploded. So I've been doing a lot of coaching lately and really, really loving it. I, I've always had this weird sort of love-hate relationship with coaching
Yeah.
because on the one hand, we do keynotes and you can't compare keynote money to coaching money. So there's
That's
always
what's
been
made
that
you
like,
not like it. That's what's made you. Look, I love coaching, but cheap ass people, they only pay me a 15th of what I earn on stage. Yes,
are
okay.
very honest conversations on the Expansive.
Yeah, exactly. I hope none of your clients are listening to this, your coaching clients.
But there's an
Yeah.
upside to it, which is that it's really great to talk to people about their experiences they're going through, and to be a part of them helping them solve that. Because to me, coaching is always a third coaching, a third sort of like workshopping, and a third just advisory, just like giving advice based on experience. And so
Sure.
it's really great to be a part of people's
Sure.
journey in that way. And I really enjoy it. It makes me hyper aware of, because we've spoken about this in the pod before, our experience of how the world is changing is very different from people who are in organizations and how their world is changing. So it's nice to get that insider view into what they are really going through. And then I think on top of that, it just shows me the patterns that just repeat over and over and over.
I was just going to ask you,
You know,
do you see patterns that repeat through people?
dude. So the two biggest ones, and I think and this is probably where coaching shines, but if you can figure this out for yourself, then this fast tracks you to success. Number one is
Yeah.
our absolute lack of
Yeah.
clarity, that we don't, we go through this
Okay.
world so busy with everything else that we don't create enough space to reflect on
Yeah.
what do we really want, who do we really want to be. And so because you don't even
Yes.
know the big things, you don't know how to scaffold that into the smaller things. So like, what do you want to do in the next 30 days? Like, what are the power moves you want to make? What are the risks you want to take? What is the habit that you're going to change? What is the part of your identity that you need to shift? Like, you don't know any of that stuff because you haven't taken the time to reflect on the big things, or like who you want to be, where you want to go. So absolute lack of clarity. And I mean, we can dive into that even deeper, because why we don't have the clarity is we are busy, number one. Number two, everything is changing around us all the time, and we feel like we need to change with it. So we don't know what to change into. We are driven by fear, not inspiration or passion. And of course, then you are always thinking, how do I not lose, instead of thinking, how do I win? And then
Oh, wow.
fourth is that we are so influenced by the people and the world around us that we completely confuse our own goals with theirs. And we
Wow.
think, oh, I see everyone else like raising
Wow.
funds, I should raise funds. Or, so all of
Wow.
those things contribute to us not having the clarity that we need. And then the second thing is, the part of the pattern is that we just don't know how our intrusive thoughts prevent us from taking effective action. And like
Sure.
even in like in small ways, like I was speaking to a guy this morning, and is very successful in the company that he's in, but he feels he's not getting the recognition and the reward that he deserves. But the solve here is actually quite easy. And he knows that he's not doing the things that will help him to make it a better environment for him to be in. So he was saying like, oh, I know I don't speak up. I know that I'm not playing the politics game inside of the company. I'm just doing my work and hoping that I get rewarded off the back of that. So already in that, you can see that he is complicit in creating that which he says he doesn't want.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been.
I love that line of yours. You use that line often. Like,
yes.
Where are you complicit in creating the life that you actually don't want?
Yes.
That's such a. You know what that is? That's such a. Yeah. Where's it come from?
Jerry Colonna. He's also an executive coach.
Yeah. It puts you onto the back foot because. Yeah, the question is so smart. You know, every time you say it and I hear it, I'm like, whoa. Like, whoa, where are you complicit? Like, where are you creating your own reality that you're complaining about? Muppet. That's actually what you say.
Exactly.
But it's much more elegant. It's much more elegant. That's why you coach and I don't. I'm like, you're doing what? You're such an idiot. What's wrong with you? Yeah, look, you're an excellent coach. I see you do it with me sometimes. You know, you listen so deeply. And I think what you've just broken down is a book, bro. What you've just explained, clarity and where you're complicit in creating all the crap that, but you know, the clarity piece, let's talk about that for a second, because I think, you know, with social media and with the world around us, other people's goals become ours. And wow, that's such a profound thing, is that level of comparison puts you into the place of, well, if they've got it, that must be cool. So I also need it. And it brings me back to my word of the year of sovereignty is actually, I don't want to, and I've stopped doing that. I have stopped comparing myself in many ways to many people's riches and Porsches. And, you know, I've got a fair bit of money in my account and I was looking at cars that I can go buy. I was like, geez, but I can buy that car? I didn't even, like, I haven't thought about buying a car for 10 years. And I've never really put myself into the place of what could I afford? But I was like, dude, I can drive a Range Rover. And that's like amazing. But I don't even want to drive a Range Rover. It's like the weirdest emotion. Like, I don't even care. And I made that post a little while back called the brand matrix, where people are so caught up in the brand game that everything they make money for is to buy things to impress people, not themselves.
Yeah.
And that is that lack of clarity of your goals and what's important to you. Wow, that is. I imagine most of the world are not running in the goals that are theirs. And let's go back to education, right? You never really did what you were supposed to do. You fit into a system, like right from the very youngest part of you, you were pushed into a system that wasn't really about you. It was about the system. So now, you know, I had a question the other day. Where was I? It was from an audience member that said, what will we do for meaning in the age of AI? And I said, do you think your career is your meaning? So what are you? Head of procurement. Well done. That's your meaning. Sure. Okay, well, you lived a fantastic life.
Very good answer.
You arrived at it. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, you're right. I was like, what do you think your degree and your job or your meaning? We've been duped into thinking that's our meaning. Duped. And so we will actually only for the very first time find meaning, because you'll be released from the system and the role you were trained to play that you don't even know you've been trained to play.
Dude, that's huge, eh?
Yeah.
Like if people could just understand that, that's pretty huge.
That's a big thing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for the longest time, like your identity is just the work that you do, because it's where you spend 8 to 10 hours of your day. So that is who I am.
Yeah. Tough one, eh? And also you get to the end of your life, bro. You retire and you die. Yeah. And you're like, you gave your whole life force to an organization. The whole life force, organization chowed you. I don't know if you saw that post I made. I said, entrepreneurs risk money for freedom, and corporates risk freedom for money.
For money.
And so, you know, when I look at these people that are quote unquote successful, but are partners in major sort of consulting firms, 24 hours a day, that role, like that's majorly who they are, not the person at home. And so like, wow, that's a hell of a life to give away to a consulting firm. And then the consulting firm then is going through some changes, then you get fired. Like you were talking about, like your brother, you know, giving that much time, space, and energy. And the next thing is like, okay, well, you're not really needed here. Thanks very much. Times have changed.
I mean,
like, what?
This week, Amazon, 30,000 layoffs, UPS, 10,000. It's like it's a bloodbath out there. When do you think it shifted for you? When do you think you stopped looking at the goals of others and making them your own?
I'd like to say that I had an enlightening moment, but to be really, really honest, is when I went bankrupt. when it forcefully got taken away from me. And I was like, whoa. Let me tell you, I had the Panerai, I had the Mont Blanc, I had the M3, I had the Bryanston house. I had everything. And it all got taken away from me. In one, I was a butt, bro. I was a very good butt. You know what I mean? I was an excellent butt. And then what happened is, as I started to come out of that, I then started to reassess my goals, because firstly, I didn't have the money to achieve to compete. So that was taken away from me. But when I did start making money again, I just thought to myself, what a waste of money to go and buy another car. Like, I remember a friend of mine coming to visit me from Joburg in Cape Town, and I was driving a 3 Series BMW with like a kit on it. And he said to me, wow, I love your life in Cape Town. Why do you still drive a Joburg car? I was like, what?
That's so good.
What? I was like, geez, he's right. Why am I still driving this car? What happened? So I gave up the car, bro. I gave up the car and I bought a smaller car. I bought that VW Up. And I drove a VW Up for a while. And obviously, when the VW Up left, I was like, okay, I don't want a car. So like, now it's changed over a period of time. And as I've gotten older, and obviously more self-work you do, the more you're interested in your internal dialogue than you're on the exterior feedback loop. And so when I do look at my wealthy friends caught up in all the brands, I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you chasing this recognition? It's a pointless recognition, bro. Pointless. I think the only recognition you need to have is like sort of kindness, calmness, and fitness. You know, I think those are the things you really need to be fitting in. But anyway, please, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, validating yourself. I was listening to, I think it was a Chris Williamson, like short form video this morning. And I didn't listen to it properly, but there was a distinction that he made between knowing when things are valuable and knowing when they are hard to get. And often we'll look at someone and they drive the latest Range Rover and we think, oh, that's such a valuable thing to have in your life. But actually, it's just a hard to get thing, because you have to achieve a certain level of success in order to buy the thing. But it's not nearly as valuable as deep relationships or a healthy body. And he made this, he just said, we have to distinguish between the two. Because if you conflate them, then you'll spend your life chasing things that you think are valuable. But then when you acquire them, you realize actually they were just hard to get.
And I think that's also what happened to me, I had it. I lived it. I dreamed it. I got it. And now I'm like, okay, I'm over it, So very, very smart that, eh? And then the second thing was clarity. And I think that...
the first one was clarity. The second one was understanding the intrusive thoughts that prevent you from taking effective action.
Yes. And I think both of them come down to what I want to talk about. And I think let's segue into that, because I was at the Singularity event last week. I did. I did an Erik. Did you see that?
Just checking.
I pulled the Erik there. Look, just for the listeners out there, I pulled the Erik yesterday as well. So we were talking on WhatsApp, and I said to him that I got my word of the year for 2026. He's like, "What is it? What is it?" I'm like, "I'm not telling you." Erik never tells me. Erik always tells me on the show. I don't know what game Erik plays, but as friends, we usually share things. With Erik, he shares shit.
When I reveal
nothing.
Something to you. That's what it comes down
thank
to.
you so much.
Yes.
Secret boy. So anyway, I didn't tell him my word of the year. I'm actually very excited about my word of the year, and it came about in a post I was making. And I was like, oh my God, that really resonated with me. And I think that's the way to get a word of the year, is when you see something and you're like, oh, I can feel this word. Like like sovereignty was, I really felt the word, you know what I mean? And so for 2026, I have an amazing word. So I went to the Singularity event, and it was really, really good. Really, really good. Firstly, the Mann brothers did an exceptional job, and there was really good speakers. And the one talk that really stood out for me was the idea that in order for us as leaders, it was all about leadership. In order for us to be leaders in the future, in this incredible amount of change that we're going through right now, there's only one way out. And the only way out is enlightenment. And then your second question is enlightenment. Are you joking? That's like Buddha territory or like Gandhi territory. What are you talking about? Enlightenment. That's too much. And then he made such a good distinction. He said, enlightenment's very simple. You're either suffering through life or you're not suffering through life. Those are the two ways that we go about speaking about it. Did I speak about this last week on the pod?
No. We had a long conversation about it.
Oh, was it private?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
You just can't distinguish anymore between me having a conversation with you in private versus the pod.
I was thinking, as I said this, I was like, I'm sure I've told this to Eric. I'm sure I've said this to Eric.
Because I was sitting in this exact room. Yes, no.
Yes. Okay. Fair enough. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for acting like it's the first time you've heard this. I appreciate you. That's why you're such a good coach. So the distinction he made was really, really important, is that enlightenment is the ability not to suffer. That's all it is. It's just not to suffer. And then the second question is, what does suffering look like? And there's 4 ways that we suffer. The first one is craving to be somewhere you're not. Like, I don't want to be here. I want to be in Mauritius. I don't want to be in Mauritius. I want to have this job. I'm not in the right job. I want to be not in the right relationship. Always craving to be somewhere that you're not. And you realize to yourself that all of us are doing that. Like, who isn't craving not to be somewhere else? Which means that you're not actually at peace with where you are. You're not actually in a comfort space with where you are. So you never really arrive. Go on.
Sorry, and I'm assuming this isn't just a physical location, it's also where you are in life, like what you've achieved.
Of course. Yeah, of course. Your relationships, your, all of that sort of stuff. So, and you know what we call it in the West? Ambition. And ambition is another way of saying suffering. And that's why the Tao Te Ching wrote a chapter called Ambition, the game of the fool. It's like, it's always chasing the next thing. I mean, it's a foolish game, but somehow we're all playing it. We're all stuck in this rut of craving. The second thing that makes us suffer, he called it time slipping. And that's spending time in the past and your memories and projecting anxiety into the future. Again, escaping the moment that you're in. And as Eckhart Tolle wrote in that book, The Power of Now, actually what he was saying in that book was, if you achieve the power of now, you stop suffering. And if you stop suffering, you enlighten yourself. I mean, what a simple distinction, but somehow we're not caught up with it. 3, judging. When you judge the world, you label the world, you separate yourself from the world. And let me tell you, this game I play inside my head where you name the characters. Grizzly is my judgerer. Damn, this Grizzly guy. Grizzly. He has been pointing his head up. I'm having a chat with Grizzly because, I went through a period of, like, I don't know, what usually happens to me is like, I'm busy. And I'm like judging. And then all of a sudden something happens. I'm like, damn, that's Grizzly. That's like, I forget that character's inside me. And the minute I can name it, again, disassociate, and immediately the judgment stops. Immediately. Like, oh, okay. Like, okay, now I need to deal with Grizzly. I haven't dealt with Grizzly yet. So judgment. So we go from the first one, craving. Second one, time slipping. Third one, judgment. And the fourth one, self-obsession. Ego. Me. What's happened? And I watched a video about the third phase of social media. And what the lady was saying was the first phase of social media was anybody putting anything up online because anything would go because it was so new.
Yeah.
The second piece of social media was this looks and, perfect sort of scenario. Like if you had those looks and the vibe there, you would make it. 3 is about adding an incredibly unique voice well produced. If you don't have those, it's too busy. There's just too much noise. And I realized that the age of Instagram and all the model schmodels that have been so successful are now falling off the wayside, because that pouting that they do, which makes me feel sick inside, because if I go through past somebody's Instagram and they've got one or two more pictures of themselves pouting, I'm out. I delete. This is ridiculous. What are you doing? Like, it's so sad.
Yeah.
And I'm on a dating app called Raya, which I've never been on one date with it. I don't even know why I'm on it. But anyway, it's like a high-end dating app, right? And I look at these girls on there and it says full-time model. I'm like, thank you. No. Model. I'm looking for a travel partner. No, you're actually looking for somebody to pay for you to travel. No. And so what you have, she should say, looking for somebody to pay for me to go somewhere nice so I can take some pictures in a beautiful place and my Instagram can look better. That's actually what they're saying.
That's funny, because that's what it's not even subtle, no. To be honest. It's quite on the nose.
It's not. So you realize that. And really, it got me to think that in neuroscience, we call suffering high beta and we call enlightenment alpha. And so you have these very clear descriptions of the evolution of humanity and the evolution of you and me and everybody listening to this pod. And people who are not listening to the pod must suffer. So people that are listening to Expansive must not suffer. And so what must happen is stop suffering, stop chasing. Stop craving, stop judging, and stop thinking about me. Stop pouting.
Yeah.
And it's over. Those days are over. And it's not even cool to be doing it anymore. And I was speaking to a lady this morning on Instagram. She runs these events, these like spiritual festivals. And I said to her, I am so sick and tired of them. I'm sick to death of people arriving in feathers and beads and running around acting spiritual. I'm like, guy, it's over.
It's
those days are done. It's disgusting, actually. It's performance. It's not real. It's performance. And truth be told, I was obviously in it. And I think that's part of the evolution. You go through that process of spiritual bubblegum, but it's suffering. It's suffering. It's all suffering, And so, I feel so, and we were speaking offline, about the deep, deep level of gratitude I have for what's going on in my life and just what's happening around me. And I feel like a lack of suffering. Because when you are grateful, you can't also suffer. And Dr. Joe has this beautiful piece where he says, I can't remember the exact words, but he says that when you are in a state of gratitude, your brain can't even produce cortisol. It's like, it's impossible for it to produce cortisol. So you literally can't suffer when you're in a space of gratitude. And so, it's a real, a brilliant perspective on leadership for the future. The only way to really do it is to stop suffering.
I love it, dude. I really love it. And, it's funny that it all comes back to the inner work. That like the way to prepare for the future, the way to be more calm, focused, composed for the future, it all comes back to the inner work, and it all comes back to like deep conversations that you need to have with yourself from a space of awareness and honesty. And that's one thing I didn't mention when we were like having our initial conversation about clarity, is that a big piece of that is the honesty component. And all of this requires a deep level of honesty with yourself.
Deep.
And that's the hardest thing to get right, because it's so easy to blame the world around us, to excuse our own behaviors, our own thoughts, to just make it out as this is not who I am. And we've often kind of joked about this idea that people will say, oh, I can't sit still and meditate because like my brain is just too busy. But it's like, are you saying my brain isn't busy? You're saying, it's like, so we excuse ourselves. And this kind of work is tough work because it's you facing you, but it's you facing you in the pursuit of being a much better version of yourself. Like the success that you need for the future isn't going to be found in AI and clouds and servers. It's going to be found in the internal work that you do.
That's what we were saying. There was a clip from the podcast that you shared. It's funny, I don't remember the podcasts. People say to me, I love what you said about this. I'm like, I have no idea, or I can't even remember it. And sometimes when you send me the clips of the pod and I'm listening to it, it feels like I'm listening to the first time. I'm like, oh, that's so good. That's like so great. I don't remember saying
That's
that.
my editing.
But
That's
one
my
of the
editing
pieces,
making you look good.
it is your editing. It is your editing, you know. But it's about that idea of, and I said it in that pod last time, the future is not about strategy, it's about consciousness.
Mm,
The future is not about working harder within the realm of what you're doing. It's about raising your evolution of your humankind. And from that perspective, you see more.
yeah.
And, you know, I was with bankers in Singapore, all the top bankers and all the top finance people. And they were exactly those people, you know, saying all the right words, meaning absolutely nothing, dressed the right way, well spoken, great grammar, talking about 1975, bro. It's over,
Mm,
Kashmova, done and finished. And they themselves are lost. They themselves are unfulfilled. And there was a great line that said, people are not fatigued because they're tired. They're fatigued because the system has let them down.
mm.
They've done everything they need to do, but they feel unfulfilled. Unfulfilled. All the millions in the bank, and you're unfulfilled.
But
And
bro,
that's really the sad part, you know?
just come back to the question that you asked. Like, where do I find meaning when AI takes my job?
Yeah.
That tells you,
Yeah.
it kind of tells you everything that you need to know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you look, we complain about corporates being like this, but the truth is we wouldn't have jobs if they weren't like this. So it's our job to help them, you know, and
Yeah.
show them some light and give them some impetus that there's life beyond this world. I remember when I was a preemie, right? I was a preemie for 10 years. I did not believe I had anything to add value to the world outside of preemie because I was so entrenched in preemie that when preemie finished, I was absolutely in shell shock. I was like, there's no way I can add value to the world. I know nothing about what's going on the outside. And I think corporates to a certain extent have the same thing, is you're so invested in everything inside this organization you've given your whole life to that you feel very, very scared about anything on the outside, you know?
Yeah.
But there's so much on the outside, so much better on the outside, you
There
know?
is. But also, I mean, I'm not against, like, I think big corporates do amazing things, you know, like if it wasn't for Amazon,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have
Sure.
like so much of
course.
the innovation and comfort and luxury we
course.
have today. But I think it's
Yeah.
that, and maybe coming back to like some of the coaching conversations I've had, is that unfortunately we end up creating environments where people prioritize self-preservation over evolution. And
Yes.
like this morning, I was speaking to a guy and he's like highly in self-preservation mode right now, which means he sees things in the company that needs to change, but he's not willing to speak up about it because he's self-preserving.
Yes.
Now, what's also happening is that everyone else is also in self-preservation mode. So now no one speaks up and nothing changes. And that's like, I think that's ultimately where the work that we do comes in, is that we want to help people to create better internal dialogues so they can help create better environments that enables them to evolve as people and then ultimately evolve the expression of the company into the world as we change. That's the work that we do.
That's beautifully said. That's really good. I like that. Yeah, it is that. But yeah, it's the rules are changing, and we have to start showing up differently. You know.
I enjoyed this. Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure. I'm going to Brazil next week, Thursday, for a week, and then I'm going to Mexico for 10 days. It's going to be really tough. I'd like to keep you. Can you keep me in your prayers, please? It's going to be a very tough time in Brazil and Mexico.
Shame.
Yeah, if you guys can have a vigil to pray for me and send me good wishes. That beach on Ipanema is going to be
thinking of you. Yes,
thinking of me. Yes, think of me. And
the blue,
when I'm at Dr. Joe at the 5-star resort,
ocean at Cancun doesn't scorn your eyeballs.
Exactly. Thank you very much. That I don't burn myself in the sun too much. That I don't eat too much. That I don't get fat. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm so excited. I'm beyond excited. I'm like a kid in a candy store about to go on this trip. So excited. It's going to be so good.
Enjoy, and I think you can wrap us out.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. And we look forward to sharing another podcast next week sometime. Erik and I are both traveling, but we'll definitely find some time. And now that I don't have to carry this 15-kilo mic with me everywhere I go, thank goodness, now I can use just my phone. What a flippin' win. I wonder how long I've been able to use my phone and I didn't realize. And I think Erik knew and he kept it. He didn't tell me. And so now I've been traveling with this mic.
I'm taking the
now I don't have to travel with this mic, then I can do the pod anytime. So I'll definitely do a pod from Rio, because I have to show off a little bit that I'm in Rio. And then I will definitely do a pod from Mexico, because I want to talk about Dr. Joe's event again. But hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful 2 months left to the end of the year. Tomorrow is November, and we go now into 2026. And I was listening to a lady, a Chinese lady, talking about the year of the horse. Next year is the year of the horse. And the year of the horse is all about expansion. It's like the horse. It's forward. It's movement. It's fast. It's like a horse. She's like, it's like a horse. And she was like, it's going to be a fantastic year. You know, the year, I think this year was the year of the rat. And it was a year of shedding. Oh, no, it was a year of the snake. Sorry, it was a year of the snake. Okay. Same shit. Same snakes, rat. They're both slithering around. So the year of a snake was about shedding skin and letting go of things. The horse is the year of moving forward. So a lot to look forward to in 2026. I hope that you're looking forward to finding your word of the year. My word of the year of sovereignty has been really, really brilliant. I mean, I started off my year with going to Dr. Zach Bush. First thing he says when he starts the course, this is all about sovereignty. I was like, oh my God, this is happening again. So make sure that you're thinking about your word of the year. It really helps you theme where you are. You can always come back to it. And really lean on it, as both Erik and I do. And if you like the podcast, please do share it with some of your friends. And please leave us a review if you feel the need to. And thanks again for joining us on our expansive adventures. Until next week, ciao.